Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Fernet Branca. So Fernet Branca is a style of liqueur that falls under the category of digestivos or digestivos. So like I mentioned in the Campari video, aperitivos are meant to help you open the appetite before a meal. Digestivos are meant to help you digest after a meal. So there's a lot of similarities between aperitivos and digestivos. They're both meant to treat ailments. They're both made with a bunch of herbs and spices. What makes digestivos different is that they're a lot more stronger and bolder in flavor, and they all have this kind of mentally flavor profile to them. And it was around the 1700s when aperitivos started to become popular for consumption. It was the same case for digestivos, where they were served at the dinner tables around the 1700s as well. So Fernet Branca is the most popular digestivo brand on the market. It's easy to find all over the world. So the thing about Fernet Branca, I feel it's a lot more easier and more approachable in cocktails. But off the bat, when you smell its flavor profiles, you think it's overly powering and bitter, but it actually blends in to cocktails a little bit more nicer than Campari. It doesn't try to take over as much, and it kind of develops into this softer maple syrup, honey type of flavor. So let's get ready to make 3 simple cocktails with Fernet Branca. So the first cocktail that we're going to do today is the Hanky Panky. So this cocktail was invented somewhere in the early 1900s by Ada Coley Coleman at the American Savoy Bar in London. We then see printed this cocktail in Harry Craddock's 1930 book, The Savoy Cocktail Book. So we're going to start off with 1.5 ounces of a London dry gin. Next, 1.5 ounces of Sweet Vermouth. And just a Barspoon of Fernet Branca. So this is going to be a little intro to Fernet Branca to see if you're going to be a fan of those flavor profiles. Add ice. Hopefully you've been practicing on your stirring. And we're going to garnish with an orange peel. Just going to clean this up. And then we're going to strain into a chilled coupe glass. Express some orange oils over the top and garnish. And there you have the Hanky Panky. Cheers. It's really nice and savory from the Sweet Vermouth. It really ties it all together. You have a little bit of that kind of menthol bitterness from the Campari or from the Fernet Branca coming back. Starting to get a little bit of the floralness from the gin as well. It's a really good simple drink. So the next cocktail we're going to do is the Macunaíma. So this cocktail was invented in 2014 by Arnaldo Harai in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So this cocktail calls for an aged cachaça. So similar to the last video, if you don't have access to aged cachaça wherever you are, you can use a combination of rye, silver cachaça, and Jamaican rum. So I'm going to be using 2 ounces of aged cachaça. So for this one, if you don't have access to this, you can use 1.5 ounces of rye, 1/4 ounce of silver cachaça, and 1/4 ounce of a Jamaican rum. So we're going to start off with 2 ounces of aged cachaça. A 1/4 ounce of Fernet Branca. 3/4 of simple syrup. And 3/4 ounce of lime juice. Add ice. And shake for about 12 to 15 seconds. And double strain into an old-fashioned glass. and garnish with the dehydrated lime wheel. And there you have the Macunaíma. Okay, cheers. Yeah, that's really good. Up front, you get the mentholness from the Fernet Branca, and you kind of get that maple syrup, honey kind of flavors that I was mentioning as well. So why Fernet Branca may be more approachable to you than Campari. Fernet Branca blends in a little more into the cocktail, whereas the Campari does try to take over a little more. Another really good drink with Fernet Branca, a little bit more volume in this one than the Hanky Panky. Still a really good intro to Fernet Branca. Okay, that was really good. So what should our next cocktail be? Well, we're in Toronto, so let's do the Toronto cocktail. So this cocktail was invented somewhere in the early 1900s before Prohibition, and it was first called the Fernet cocktail. So we first see print of this cocktail in Robert Vermeer's cocktail book, How to Mix Them, in 1922. So obviously there was no Prohibition in Canada, and for whatever reason this cocktail really took off in Toronto's Italian community. So it isn't until 1948 where we first see this cocktail in print as the Toronto cocktail, and it was in David Embry's book, The Fine Art of Mixing Drinks. Then a year later, in 1949, in Esquire's Handbook, it also includes a cocktail recipe for the Toronto. So somewhere between the 1920s and the late 1940s, it was just accepted that this is now the Toronto cocktail, no longer the Fernet. So even though the cocktail changed its name, the recipe was still the same as the Fernet. So for this one, I'm going to do a special garnish. You don't have to do this. So I'm going to cut a coin off of an orange peel, and I'm going to shave off some of that pith off of the orange peel. You don't have to get it all off because this garnish is not going in the drink, it's only going on the outside. And then we're going to take a paring knife and cut 3 triangle-shaped claws into the orange peel. Are you with me so far? So we're going to start off with 1.5 ounces of rye. We're going to use a Canadian rye for this one. Then 1/4 ounce of Fernet Branca. 1/4 ounce of Demerara Syrup. And 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Add ice and stir. And then we are going to strain into a chilled Nick and Nora glass. And then we are going to garnish with my attempt of a Toronto Raptors basketball. And there you have the Toronto cocktail. Cheers. Yeah, with this one, the mentholness is amplified because you have the spiciness from the rye playing with the Fernet. This is more similar to a Manhattan-style cocktail, just a little bit more complex with the mentholness from the Fernet Branca. It's a really nice complex drink, but it's also very simple. Okay, so there you have 3 cocktails with Fernet Branca. Really easy cocktails. They're also a good intro to Fernet Branca as well. I hope this video was as much fun for you as it was for me. Hit that like and subscribe button, follow me on Instagram for more recipes, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.